Hello beautiful people. Leonie Laukkanen here. This is the first video of a 4-part masterclass series where I'm going to talk to you all about how you can co-create your life with the universe. Doesn't that sound magical? My mission in life really is to return women to wholeness. I'm an intuitive mentor. I'm an author of an award-winning book called Mother Om. I am a speaker and a podcaster. I have 3 beautiful children. And today I really wanted to share with you how I really work with clients and what fear looks and feels like when it's sitting in our body, and how we can start to release some of that fear. Because I'll paint you a picture of a life where we are living in fear. So we constantly want our life to change, or there may be a situation that isn't serving us, that may feel very out of our control. We may have a fear of failure, so we never begin anything. We may have a fear of not being enough, or a deep sense of unworthiness. So again, this plays out into our life where we worry about what other people think. We may struggle to truly express ourselves. We may not feel safe. And have a deep kind of fear around our survival, which is sort of having our needs met. This can play out in our relationships where, we're really coming from a place of fear when we have an argument with a loved one. And really, when we don't meet and clear fear, it actually can cripple us and really stop us stepping into our true magic and true potential. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how the brain works. It's not very sexy, but it's important to know that fear is actually really a biological part of us being human, and it really is to keep us safe. If our child is about to cross the road and we see a car coming, we're going to, grab that child and probably shout at them. I would. And, our biological need is to really keep that child safe. Now, you may have heard this analogy many times before, but really, when we are threatened, our brain, our amygdala in the back of the brain gets triggered. And we have 3 responses to this stressful situation, which is freeze, literally, fight, I'm literally going to fight you now because you've really irritated me, or flight, like we're just going to run. And this is an essential safety part of us that like protects us, basically. Adrenaline, our chest starts getting tight, we start to breathe quicker. Now, what's happening in our day-to-day world is we're constantly being threatened when our kids aren't listening, or when someone cuts us up in traffic. And our brain does not know what's real and what's perceived. So we're not really being threatened when our kids aren't listening. And our brain is still going to trigger that same stress response in our body, which is fight, flight, or freeze. So it's good for us to understand what's happening, so we can start to actually think about, okay, well, what is triggering me, and why is this fear that I have around keeping my kids safe or worrying about what people think, why does that keep coming up? And so I'm just going to show you, because I used to teach kids, I taught kids yoga for a long time. Like, this is how our brain works. So this is your brain, and this is the amygdala, and he's the guard dog, and he lives inside the back of your brain. And this little guy is the wise old owl. And the wise old owl lives over the amygdala, and it's the prefrontal cortex. And this really develops quite late in children, really about 4.5. They'll start to develop this. And in boys, actually, it can take up till they're like 24 to fully develop this part of the brain. But this part of the brain is where we have rational thinking, reasoning, we're able to make good choices. And when we do feel threatened, when fear arises, the amygdala, the guard dog, comes out, starts flooding us with emotion and cortisol in our body, and we go into those stress responses, and the wise old owl flies away. The prefrontal cortex cannot work, is not activated when and you see this when a 4-year-old's having a tantrum. That's it. You can't console them because they are prefrontal cortex totally gone. Amygdala is just barking and they're firing. And of course, we get triggered as well. So the reason we would do yoga, meditation, mindfulness, all of these beautiful practices, is that we want the amygdala to go back inside and that wise old owl to come back down. So fear keeps us safe. But when I see fear in my clients, it is actually causing a lot of problems in their external reality. And I use fear in my life as a teacher. So I'm like, oh, I feel really fearful about this situation. Right, what is that going to uncover? Like, because our fear really is inviting us to return to our true nature, which is unlimited consciousness. We are infinite beings of light. We are magic. We can attract a miracle in our life really just by our energy, because everything is energy and it's all about our vibration. And when we truly understand that fear really is guiding us home to our truth, we start to perceive fear in a different way. So all fear is one fear. Your fear is exactly the same as my fear. Whether it's fear of failure, whether it's not being good enough, it doesn't actually matter what your fear is. It's all one. It's all the same. I also want to share with you that when fear sits in our physical body, and we have lots and lots of little interactions during our day which cause this stress response. And basically that goes into our energetic body. Now we can't see our energetic body, but if you were to imagine you've got this like beautiful light or aura around you, and this goes out to 3 meters. In fact, more than that. It was only ever measured at about 3 meters. So you've got this huge body of expansion and light. And chakras, which are energetic wheels of energy, if you imagine, they're like invisible spider webs. They're like radars and sponges. So we are constantly feeding off the energy of all the people around us. And we know this when we wake up and we're in flow and the whole world is magical, and then we wake up and we haven't slept well and we're just grumpy and we're just kind of manifesting drama and chaos in our life, because our energy is basically, that's what the universe is. It's feeling you. It's feeling this sense of like, and frustration, and everything's too hard right now. So when I work with a client and when I look at fear, I look at where it's sitting in their body. Where is this fear of imperfection sitting in your body? And it's going to be in the lower 3 chakras, and they're they are the base chakra right at the root of your spine, which is about feeling safe and grounded, and it's about our survival instincts, feeling supported. Then you have the sacral chakra, which is as a woman, it's in our womb space, and it's about connection, relationships, addiction, pleasure, creativity, all resides in our beautiful womb space. Then we have the solar plexus, which is in our navel area. It's our confidence, our willpower, our determination. And fear typically sits in the lower 3 chakras. So when I work with a client, I tune in and I say, this is what's going on for you. You've got digestive issues, you've got uneasiness or discomfort, or maybe there's really heavy periods, or you've got a lot of lower back pain. And this is manifesting into you not feeling safe, or not being able to fully step into your power, or you've got, your throat feels restricted because you're not able to fully communicate what you want. So when these lower energetic chakras are blocked, it comes up to our heart space, where we're not able to fully open ourselves up to give and receive love. That flows up to our heart, which is of course where we communicate, up to our third eye, which is the space of intuition and vision. And that's actually the periscope of our heart, because our intuition lives in our heart. And then of course we have our beautiful crown chakra, which is the connection with our soul. So when we have this fear sitting in our body, we're trying to make change in our life, but we just keep manifesting the same situation over and over again. A guy that just doesn't work for us, or the same situation, the same pattern keeps repeating, because we're creating habits and thoughts and stories, which mostly aren't true, around certain situations. And it's really when we dive into fear, what is it there to teach us? As a teacher, as an intuitive guide, I'm absolutely not here for your comfort. I'm here for your evolution. And I love it when my clients cry, because they're healing and they're deeply releasing a lot of trauma or past life baggage that they're carrying around with them. And in just 2 sessions, I have the power as an intuitive guide to be able to channel God consciousness to release just so much trauma. It's the most powerful and profound practice I've ever learned, and I've done yoga training and mindfulness training, and all of those have a wonderful place. But this goes so much further and goes into that subconscious mind and rewires your brain, and that when this fear keeps arising, you now have the tools to deal with it. So I'd love for you to tune into something that's bothering you, something that is a fear that you have that keeps coming up. A big one for me is keeping my kids safe. I have 3 kids. I always struggle with the fact that I only have 2 hands, and then I just will struggle to keep all 3 safe. So when I feel that coming up, I really tune in, and I use a practice called heart congruence. And it's really about placing one hand on your heart and really closing your eyes, rating that fear. So right now it's really intense. That fear of me keeping my kids safe is like an 8. And I would tune into feelings of gratitude, appreciation, joy, and freedom. And this is heart congruence, and the power of the heart, it's more powerful than our brain. The heart is able to recognize images before the brain. It's got this such a powerful space. It's where all our emotion resides, and it's our emotion that tells our brain to react. So when we tune into our heart's intelligence, to our intuition, which is where that resides, we're able to focus on these feelings of gratitude and appreciation and joy. And if we do that for up to 3 minutes, we will rate that fear again, and it will go down to a 5. And then we do the practice again until we get down to really a 1 or a 2. So this is an amazing practice I do with my clients to help them, after we've gone through this beautiful 9-step process to meet and release fear, to be able to continue that process. So I hope you've enjoyed this masterclass. And I hope that you are inspired to watch the next 3 classes, which again are going to be sharing more profound tools around how do we clear our fear. But really think about what is playing out in your life that is the same situation that's manifesting over and over again. And what is it that you so deeply want to change? And then think about what fears keep arising and how that's stopping you from moving forward, and how it's preventing you from really moving into the magic zone of life, because we know that we feel the fear, and a lot of us just, that's enough. We don't want to feel it. We're just going to push it down. We're going to suppress it. And that's never going to work for us, because we're just going to keep doing the same situation. The same situation is going to keep manifesting. So when we go into that space of why am I feeling this way and what's triggering this, and we have the emotional intelligence to use these tools to work through that fear, that is where we really go into the learning zone, the growth zone, and then we go into the magic zone of life. And that's where we want to be living. We want to be in ease and flow and grace, and have more connected relationships with our loved ones, have more abundance, and really just be a healthier and happier version of ourselves. But if we have unmet fear in our physical bodies, we will get sick. We will go to the doctor, they'll physically say this is what's going on, but they may not be able to tell you why. You know, why do we catch colds? Why do we have gluten intolerances? This is all unmet fear that's sitting in our physical body. So I invite you to join me over the next 4 weeks. I shall release a video a week. And I'd love to know any comments of what you loved about this or what resonated with you. But thank you so much. Namaste.